Well, everybody, it has happened. Counter-Strike Go is gone. Yes, it's literally gone. Global Offensive is no longer something that is on Steam. Now, it is Counter-Strike 2. The smoke has settled. The game is fully released to the public, and this means that after some time doing some Steam Deck stuff with Aperture Desk Job or perhaps Half-Life Alyx, we are seeing Valve just release a full-on PC game for the full PC audience. It is them going back to their roots, and after 11 years of CSGO, we have this. As well as, I should say, wider public access to the Source 2 engine and development tools, which is something that could be pretty damn exciting. But why then is there a little bit of an undercurrent of disappointment that's being carried through some of this? Even just taking a look at the now hilariously named Global Offensive subreddit, you know, they cut half the game, lol. This is really disappointing. And these are not small posts. 3.9 thousand upvotes, 1.8 thousand upvotes. Clearly, this is something that people actually give a shit about. So today, let's work out just what the hell is happening. And one of the things that's happening is the Pill Beyond art books. For those of you who pre-ordered, they have in fact shipped, and there are some that are now available on the store. So if you want to pick up one of these, it is one of the best ways to learn about the game that we made, how we made it, and to support what we do. A big thank you to everybody who pre-ordered. Your pre-orders meant that I was able to, order a sort of a higher quantity of them, which now means that there are some more in this kind of like first production run for people. So thank you for that. And yes, the link will be down below. With that said, though, I think it's time to talk about this wacky situation, because in a way you could say they've pulled an Overwatch 2, which is a funny way of putting it. So look, the review score is mostly positive, right? Look at that, the review score is mostly positive. Now, you will note that the number of reviews here is 7,620,000, and that apparently Counter-Strike 2 released on the 21st of August 2012. None of those things are true. This is, in fact, the same Steam page as CSGO. It's just been flipped over to CS2. So what's happened is that while all reviews are very positive, recent reviews are mostly positive. And that does mean that there, relatively speaking, has been an uptick, negative sentiment that has came alongside CS2. Now, to me, as an outsider to the hardcore scene of Counter-Strike, to be honest, I just thought, hey, it's CS. It's awesome. Look at that smoke. It's very impressive. And it also looks quite pretty, and look at that. Yes, Dust 2 looks a little bit more modern and snazzy, but they haven't ruined it. That's why it's been interesting to see just what is and is not there. Well, the first thing is that in terms of raw player numbers, this was an insane success. It was, in fact, so successful that they hit server capacity in multiple regions. And for this to happen to Valve is absolutely insane. The amount of data that they can pipe through the internet is kind of like, feels a bit unparalleled anyway. When you actually look at the Steam download stats, you can see a record of 80 terabits a second. That's a lot. So rip their servers. That's absolutely incredible. People, of course, did turn out in their droves to watch streamers, seeing on the launch peak viewers of like 500,000, right? Which is all very good. So all of this, some server issues aside, does look to be quite successful. Of course, bolstered by two things. Number one, Counter-Strike is free to play, has been for a long time, and of course also loot boxes and skins. Very important thing for Valve, major source of income. And we did indeed have a rather public winner where, yes, XQC, the broadly quite embattled for really stupid stuff he regularly says on the internet. The recent Legal Eagle video was a very satisfying takedown of his strange bullshit. But anyway, not that it will matter to his bottom line, but he did win approximately $30,000 of skins in the first day of trading. So there you go. And even if you cannot be a pro, maybe you can get some luck in the skins. But anyway, other than your big chances of some nice loot boxes, what are you actually getting with CS2? And as it turns out, what you're getting is going to be quite tied to that Steam score going down. So this is a free upgrade to CSGO. the game itself, it has been free since 2018, with all paid content transferring over to the new game. Now, what's happened under the hood is that the whole game has been updated to the Source 2 engine. That has allowed for reworked maps, visual updates, and audio improvements. Also, premiere mode and ratings updates alongside new global and regional leaderboards. Then, of course, the very publicized thing, because it's just extremely visual and satisfying to watch, which is the new smoke grenades that are very dynamic and interactable. And certainly I've seen some interesting plays mixing the dynamic smoke grenades with HE grenades. Kind of sick, actually. Anyway, also tick rate independent gameplay, and this is a fascinating thing. Basically, even more precise server lag is so much less of an issue, even though that is actually something that can make parts of the game not actually respond as people have been used to. I don't have the video here, but it was really interesting watching some extremely top-end players do testing about basically when peeking a corner, who could see who first, and how essentially your distance to the corner would change that in a way that was different to how things worked in the previous title. Again, those are the small things that maybe somebody like me would never notice through play, but in something like CS2, yes, those players are insane. They will notice that kind of thing. Now, this, of course, was in beta over the summer, and it's coming with 10 launch maps, which in particular are the various classic maps with various levels of improvement, ranging from a few full overhauls to ones that just have got lighting and texture updates. And of course, there is the promise of many more reworked maps to come. But what you'll probably notice here is I've just talked about a lot of systems things, right? Like the tick rate stuff on the servers, then use smoke grenades. In terms of the raw amount of content, yeah, it's a significant downgrade to what Global Offensive had. And, well, a bit of the problem is Counter-Strike Global Offensive no longer exists on Steam. Because yes, ordinarily what would happen here is CS2 would be there. A lot of people would play in the new version of CS2. I mean, hey, I remember when Source came out, sometimes I would be playing Source, sometimes I'd be playing 1.6. That was just kind of the way, the way that it went. But no, now one has replaced the other. And that's quite challenging because there is not content parity between both. And whenever I said Valve have pulled a bit of an Overwatch 2, that's because what did Blizzard do? Well, Overwatch 1, gone. Overwatch 2, it's taken its place. And that is kind of exactly what's happened here. Now, this was always framed as an update that would replace Counter-Strike Global Offensive, not a new game. It is that, but it's an update that improves a bunch of things, but there's loads of content that's missing. And that is the thing that amongst many players really hasn't gone down that well. If you actually take a look, you see Valve did an Activision Blizzard and force upgraded everybody to play Counter-Strike 2. What is this? Is this a sequel or is it a major patch? And I suppose even forgot about that. Yes, this is another time where we get to debate, does a game truly deserve the 2 that is in its name? Anyway, this has actually resulted in quite a few issues. So some people are kind of mad that their achievements don't count anymore. For others, though, the new game's system requirements mean that a game that they bought before the free-to-play launch is now completely unplayable. Others are pointing out that the Mac OS support for CSGO hasn't transferred over to Counter-Strike 2, so, yeah, rip if that's been your use case for playing the game. But I think most of all, it's the overall lack of new content, plus the realization that's set in that a lot of content just did not make it over. So, here's a great explainer from Anomaly, who's a Counter-Strike streamer and YouTuber, basically just detailing a whole bunch of things that, that are not there. No unranked matchmaking. No war games, no short games, many missing maps, only 4 wingman maps, skin pictures look goofy, Paris still on sale, it doesn't feel thought out. Why promise to release it if it's not ready? They basically released no new content with the launch, and I guess to not divide the audience, they completely removed CSGO, so the only game we're left with is the seemingly rushed Counter-Strike 2, because people generally don't expect an update to a game to mean less gameplay content and less features. Which, I mean, yeah, that sounds like a sequel that doesn't have feature parity, not an update. And you would think it's a sequel, since it's called Counter-Strike 2, but it also has the same Steam page as Global Offensive, which no longer exists. Ah, yes, I do love it when things are all quite confusing. Now, in fairness, many of those things didn't have the largest player numbers, and whenever they were prioritizing what to hit for the launch of this game, I think Valve likely just triaged based on what people are actually playing, what are the things that need to be there, what are the things that can ship a little bit later. One of those things where they probably thought, okay, will we redo all the content in the new engine? Yes. Are we going to do all that for launch? No, we would rather launch sooner. I suppose you could then say, why could they not take another year and bring all that content up to speed? The answer is, I do not know. I could maybe say, oh, maybe they feel a bit threatened by Valorant and they want something that's new and shiny and better able to compete. But I feel like me saying that would just demonstrate a lack of an understanding of the scene, at least at that top level. I mean, I think both games have got a pretty good solid player base. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, the point basically is that Counter-Strike 2 is lesser than Counter-Strike Global Offensive. And it's kind of weird. Hey, you can play Source. CS 1.6 exists. So, hey, if you never liked Counter-Strike Global Offensive and you're just playing Source, well, there you go. But if you were a Counter-Strike Go player, well, you are now stuck. And I think the main thing for me is I still am just really baffled by why they felt they really needed to do this, because normally in a situation like this, we would say, oh, it's Bobby Kotick's fault. Okay, maybe it isn't, but it's the idea that maybe Blizzard don't get to take as much time as they would want to launch something because, hey, we need a game out now because the line needs to go up. In this case, Valve are totally marching to the beat of their own drum. It's quite bizarre. Why did they not bring bring more content with them? Why did they not take longer? It's really confusing to me. I just don't particularly understand. And of course, remember, right, when at the top we saw the Steam charts and the 30 days of reviews for Counter-Strike 2 were a mostly positive 74%. Well, that was the last 30 days. No, it's not like that for Counter-Strike 2, because from the 27th of September, there have been 78,000 reviews, and those reviews are Counter-Strike 2. 59% are positive, 41% are negative. So if we're comparing to, some other games like Party Animals is sitting at a 65%, which is mixed. EA Sports FC 24 is at a 55%, which of course is mixed. So by these metrics, this is not a very positive release. This is in fact a mixed release on Steam. That is what it should be. So overall then, wouldn't it be fair to say that the response is negative? It's fair to say, though, that there is a lot of negative sentiment that, in totality, means this is a mixed launch, which is quite sad to see. I mean, you may say they're trying to secure the most long-term future by getting the new platform for this game, that maybe the next 20 years, right, will be on CS2, and then maybe they just need to get those pro players actually playing on this so that the tastemakers will lead the charge, give the feedback and all of that stuff. But PC Gamer actually spoke to many, and in particular, there's a comment from Dan, who goes by Apex, from Team Vitality, that we just wanted to highlight to you. I think that now CS2 is not better than CSGO, but with more balancing, for sure it could be. The game is not done yet, and it's not easy to play it. The sensation between the two games is different. I would say it will need a bit more time to become a better version of CSGO. I've been playing, and a few things look strange now. Right now, you can't compare the two. It's a different game. And that different game angle is pretty major here, because Valve have basically found themselves in the position that many other companies have recently. They're trying to find a way to get their very long-term successful game into a new state. They want to build a better, newer platform to support long-term development. They want it to be on Source too. And of course, they're doing that while a lot of their revenue is coming from the sale of cosmetics and that kind of thing. But they've ended up falling into a bunch of patterns, because rather than drawing their audience in with the carrot, for a very sizable amount of people, it hasn't been them being drawn in by the carrot. It's been them being, hit with the stick. That stick being, Counter-Strike Global Offensive being beaten to death. And what this sentiment tells us is that had CS2 launched as its own game in Steam, number one, it may not have had as positive of a Steam score that Valve would have wanted, but also, this suggests that a lot of people would have just stuck with CSGO, and evidently that is not what Valve wanted. But of course, in doing this as an update, they have effectively deleted CSGO. So what do you think? What do you think? I think this is a very bizarre one. I just don't think that Valve needed to take this L. A lot of those things about game feel, like those will matter to a lot of the very high-end players. I would imagine that for a lot of people, because like moving from 1.6 to Source, that felt different, but people were quite, I don't want to say they were okay with it. I remember lots of opinions back in the day, but it all happened fine. I just don't understand why they didn't take more time. If you have any insight into why they kind of felt the pressure to launch in this one so quickly, I suppose, let me know. That being said, I suppose it's Valve. It's Valve. They have weird decision making. That's just one of the things that they have. So perhaps they just kind of thought that a lot of those things didn't apply to them, or maybe they just think, you know what, we can weather this storm. It's Counter-Strike. It's going to live. Hubris is, of course, not a winning strategy in this industry. Okay, what do you think? Let me know. If you want to check out, of course, our game, The Pale Beyond, it has released on the Nintendo Switch as of the 6th of October. Of course, it's on PC, on Steam as well, if you want to check it out there. Of course, also complete with the big epilogue update that adds a hell of a lot of content at the very end of the game that, depending on what you do, depending on who does or does not live, you will see what happens to everybody. Okay, that's it from me. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.